Hello and welcome to the Riser Virtual Cheese Awards 2025. You've joined us for category B3. This is the traditional red Leicester. I'm Danielle Tingey. I'm going to be moderating this session and I'm joined by self-proclaimed cheese gods, Charlie and Stephen. If you want to say a couple of words.
Self-proclaimed. No, everyone calls us that. We just walk down the street and go, "Oh, look, there's that cheese god."
Absolutely, yeah. I was referred to as the king of cheese by somebody at the weekend, so I'll take that.
Oh, King of Cheese.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'll start those introductions again. We've got a cheese god and a king of cheese.
hmm
Two
Neither of us are
esteemed
modest.
cheeses.
Yeah,
hmm
Two esteemed cheeses that are
Yeah,
going
my
to
name's Charlie
feature.
Turnbull. I have been in cheese for ages, and I'm a director of the Academy of Cheese, and I teach cheese.
yeah. And I'm Stephen Fleming. I own George and Joseph Cheesemongers in Leeds. Been there for about 15 years or so. I also teach Academy of Cheese. We do level one, so we can help people learn more about cheese.
Fabulous. Okay, so we are showcasing the best of British cheeses, and in this category, it's a traditional red Leicester. We've got two cheeses to judge, and we're looking predominantly at appearance, aroma, texture, and flavour. We're going to talk through those attributes, but then come back to the scoring. Scores are out of a potential high score of 10. So let's start. B3, 1005, please.
But I want to add, you out of 10, but taste. What are you saying? Taste is 50%,
Yes, weighted by 50%. Yeah.
which is good. Right, I want to start this, Stephen, by what is a traditional red Leicester? I mean, that's the class, but what do you think it is? What are we looking for?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question. We were just kicking that around before we started to record, didn't we? As to exactly what you classify it by. I mean, certainly. I think there's a huge spectrum. I remember tasting some bloody awful red Leicesters as a child
hmm
that were very, very, very bitter, very over. I mean, this is 40 odd years since I had this, but they were just very plasticky.
I think
Whereas a lot
plasticky
of,
is
yeah,
absolutely right.
and
Plasticky mild used to be my sort of.
yeah, just generally just not that nice. It was always the cheese that was left behind on the cheese board at home.
Mm.
Um,
Sandwich makers used to like it because it was of the colour, you know.
yeah, and that's the other. When I think of red Leicester, then I'm thinking of as we've got here, very vivid orange coloured cheese.
Mm. I mean, from what I understand, Leicestershire used to be quite wet, quite reedy, and I often wonder whether today's traditional red Leicester has just moved away because we've got so much high quality pasture nowadays
Mm.
that what the cows used to eat is not what they're eating now. So I sort of, but I mean, Leicester has found a place for itself. Good quality Leicester, which I'm sure we're about to find out.
Absolutely,
It
yeah.
has found a place for itself. Right, should we kick on? What are we doing first? Appearance.
Appearance.
This feels like it was probably about that big originally, and this is a half height, so it's probably about that thick. So we're talking again, sort of 7-ish kilos,
Yeah,
Stevens,
yeah,
but
something
sort
to
of
7, 10 probably
big
like you
flat
look
disc.
like, yeah.
Um, there is evidence of cloth on the edge, but it's really mild. It could just be the sort of the drainage cloth. It wouldn't necessarily
Yeah,
might have been matured in plastic. Difficult to tell.
yeah, it's hard to
Um,
see much of the way of sort of aging from the rind going into the paste, isn't it?
no, there's no change of color or
No.
texture that's obvious. Um, there's a little bit of. Let's open it up and see what the texture's like inside. Right, it's much firmer than some of the other cheeses we tasted today, which are all acid crumbly cheeses. This one is much more of the trad sort of cheddar Leicester style.
Yeah. And in terms of the colour, then, yeah, if we're thinking Leicester, then this is the kind of colour you'd be expecting
Mm.
on the appearance.
It's harder. I mean, it's harder. I mean, it still has a crumble to it, but crumble into sort of chunks, not flakes.
Yeah.
Mm.
What about
What about
smell?
the aroma?
So it's quite a striking aroma.
Yeah. When I first smelt it before we opened, I got a real sense of toast, warm toast, but it's not that present now.
No. Um, It's a very savoury aroma. I'm almost kind of thinking sort of roasting pan.
What
Yes.
sort of chicken dinner kind of?
Yeah. Yeah, so chicken fat.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. I wouldn't have said it, but now you've said it,
Mm.
I'm getting that. Hmm. But the aromas in total are quite mild, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, it's not overpowering.
And it's not moist and it's not particularly milky. Now you said that chicken roasting pan, I know exactly what you mean. That is really interesting. And that's in the paste, not just on the rind as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's all the way across it.
Mm. Right, it's firm in the mouth, slow to release its flavors. First thing that's coming off is a sort of sweet savouriness. Acidity rises afterwards. No bitterness
No bitterness at all.
and appropriately salted.
Yeah, balance is pretty good.
Mm. Not very good, but pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so dairy, what are you getting?
Just going back to the texture, what would you say post-cook?
It's a little more crumbly than I would expect, and a slightly higher acid than I'd expect of a red Leicester. So it's got more of the characteristics of a high acid crumbly cheese than a red Leicester, which I sort of associate as being bigger curd, more savoury, responding to age.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. If I were blindfold, I wouldn't necessarily say this would pick this out as a red Leicester necessarily.
No, the flavours are slightly more red Leicester,
Yeah,
um, but it's still got that sort of high acid note.
yeah, that
And
that acidity is definitely sort of built. It's quite lots of sort of saliva juiciness there come through from that.
Okay. If we were to think about scores then, what would we mark it out of 10 for appearance?
It's
um, I mean, it looks a bit naked.
mm,
Um, so
I'd like to see I'd like to see more rind
I'd like to
from
see
my side.
something, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit naked. That's a good way of putting it. It's kind of exposed, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if that's because, Stephen, we're predisposed to want rind as a sign of artisan quality cellar,
Quite possibly,
value,
yes. Yeah,
and
yeah,
we're nervous about product that might have been matured in a plastic bag
yeah,
somehow.
yeah,
So it's not proof of negativity, but it's like, oh, you haven't shown me your quality yet.
yeah.
Um, I think it's got only moderate length. It's falling away a bit
Mm.
early for me. So appearance out of 10. Sorry, that's what Danielle was trying to point us back
Yeah.
to. Sort of 7.
I'm thinking 7, yeah, because yes, it's got a uniform appearance to it. It's definitely got the right color I would look for in a red Leicester.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think a solid 7.
Solid
Okay.
7. Okay. What about the aroma? What are you marking that?
I like that.
Okay.
That sort of chicken fat thing.
Sunday roast.
Yeah, it's kind of
Nostalgic.
it's unusual.
I think there's a difference between that roasting tin, which is where you went first, and chicken fat, which you want to move on to. For me, it's very
Yeah,
much the second of those two. The
yeah,
chicken
yeah,
fat is where it's at. And I think that's that classic case of have you suggested it to me, and I've gone there looking for it, and now I keep going back and no, he's right. He really is right. That's where it's at. Almost cold chicken fat, that kind
yeah,
of.
yeah,
So we're going to give that an 8.5.
yeah. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Texture. I want to bring it down a bit because I think it's too much on the crumbly side.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit too crumbly. So
6.5,
six and a
7,
half. Six and a half.
6.5. And flavour, I think it's a solid 7.5. It's not excellent. It's not. It's much better than nice. You know, it's a
Yeah,
good cheese.
I would agree.
Okay. Right. Next cheese in this category, final cheese in this category, 1144, please.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sorry, bits of crumbly cheese everywhere. Right, so this is obviously a smaller cheese. It's both tighter in diameter, and we're seeing both the bottom and the top.
Yeah.
Um, it's got discoloration and clear evidence of impression of the cloth, and I mean it's got the sort of slightly. I mean, not the cheese's fault, but I don't like that sort of vacuum pack impact. So I'm going to open it up. It's hard.
It's harder to get the knife through than the last one, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And you can see that sort of striation of really firm texture.
Yeah.
I'm going to break that to see what we get. Yeah, this is a much firmer press, probably lower acidity, higher casing bonds.
Yeah. Much, much firmer.
Mm. Right, I've tasted it, which is a mistake because that's not going to colour all my thinking. So it's got a nice cellar aroma on the edge.
Yeah.
And actually, that's quite difficult to get past because it's quite a small cheese. But if you can taste the paste, what do you think?
Yeah, that's not there on the paste at all, is it? It's kind of a little bit more dairy on the paste aromas.
Are you getting any caramel in the aroma? I've
A little, yeah.
I might be making that up. It's just I've got that in the taste, which, as I said, was a mistake to go early
Yeah.
on the
Well,
taste.
you've gone early on the taste, haven't you? So
Mm,
let's
yeah.
let's jump in there now. I can see where you're getting the caramel from now, definitely.
Mm. The other thing I sometimes think I'm getting off this is like a bacon flavor.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. It's that kind of sweet cure thing,
Mm,
isn't it?
mm.
We'll try a bit with the rind as well. Hmm. Okay, some quite different flavour notes on the rind.
Are you getting any cleaning product off the rind?
Hmm.
Or glue? Glue? Am I tasting glue? PVA glue?
I kind of, I can see that. Yeah, I see the direction you're going in. It's kind of SIF slash PVA.
Good.
Not that I spent my life sniffing or drinking glue, you understand?
I have an 8 and a 10-year-old. PVA glue is a
It's
big thing in my
everywhere, isn't
life.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what,
Um,
why would that be?
what, PVA glue?
Why are you getting those
I
tastes?
actually don't know that I've ever said PVA glue regarding a cheese before, so I don't know. Um, this looks like it's traditionally rinded with butter. Or I doubt they've used a lard because they would have wanted to keep it vegetarian. So it doesn't look to me like they've done anything unusual, as in. So I
Yeah.
don't know is the answer.
I think sometimes it's more of a suggestion of a flavour, isn't it? Because I've never kind of like sat down and munched my way through many cleaning products, but it's that sort of overlap between aroma and flavour, I think.
Hello.
Hello again.
We've got
You're like
an
the Cheshire Cat, just appears in a tree and then disappears.
cat-like qualities, Sarah. So you've joined us. We're doing traditional red Leicester. We're on our final cheese in this category. But we've got a very interesting flavour conversation going on about gluiness, a PVA/cleaning product flavour.
Oh, really?
It's not important. It's on the very edge of the rind, and most people wouldn't go there, as in lots of people would leave the rind
It doesn't
out.
carry through to the paste.
And it's nothing. The paste has a completely different character, which is much more sort of caramel. What else did we say? Sort of a bacony. There's a meaty flavour, but with strong sort of creamy elements. It's quite dense in flavour. It's quite sort of punchy, but not massively complex beyond that, Stephen.
No, I'd agree. Yeah.
So it's it knows what it does and leaves it at that kind of thing.
Does it, and it goes away fairly quickly, doesn't it? The length isn't.
The length is only moderate.
Yeah.
But it does have some complexity, and the complex is interesting. It's good.
Okay. Are you ready to score?
Moderate length.
So is the taint then the taint's on the rind? So it's not from the packaging. You think it's from some kind of process in the maturation room, maybe?
I don't know the answer to that. No cheesemaker worth his salt wants vacuum packing, but it is a necessary journey for many cheeses. So we just accept it and hopefully over.
Yeah.
But I've not come across this particular variant before. I don't know if you have, Stephen. So,
no, I haven't. So,
and of the two red Leicesters, I think this is the one that I would go back to first.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So this is going to be the winner.
Yeah, the flavours. I mean, the appearance as well. I'm just looking at the cheese again. I'm looking at your cheese, Charlie. I see you on the screen there. The colours, they're very
Vibrant.
It's vibrant. It's really appealing. It's interesting. If that's on a board, I'm going to want to jump in.
Yeah, and what's interesting is looking at your screen to show us how the cameras are different. Yours looks much paler on my screen to mine.
Yeah,
I was just going to say that it looks like two different cheeses.
Yeah,
from here.
I've got a lot of light coming through here.
Yeah, but you can see the richness of the colour on Charlie's board for sure.
Charlie's more dark and brooding.
Yeah. All right, let's score it up, Danielle. Leave us in.
Appearance out of 10. What are you giving this one?
8.5, 8.75.
Yeah, 8.5. I like the appearance a lot.
Okay.
Aroma. I think it's the only area where I would bring it down a bit. So I would be in the sort of 7 mark. The aroma.
Yeah, I think 7. They could amp the aroma up, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Texture.
Yeah, texture's good. It's nice and consistent. I like the mouthfeel.
You can see that pressed curd kind of. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, that's a really good view.
So sort of 8.5 again.
Yeah, 8.5 was in my mind.
Yeah. And flavour taste. 8.5 again. I mean, I think this is what I would call a very good cheese.
I would agree with that. I'd be happy to have this on a board. And I imagine it'll be very popular.
Yeah.
And going back to my first point about remembering horrible red Leicester from being a child, this is a world away from that.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Good job. Anything else you need to know, Danielle?
No, I think that's a good firm win for B31144 in the traditional red Leicester category, and that scored an impressive 36.75.
Good.
Thank you to our judges. Thank you to Butlers for sponsoring the aprons, and thank you to Millers for sending those delicious crackers. That concludes this category. So that cheese is going to go through to the category finals on the 10th of June. And don't forget, we're celebrating the very best of British cheeses and awarding the Supreme Champion 2025 of the Riser Virtual Cheese Awards 2025 on the 11th of June. So come and join us for that. Thank you very much, everybody.